Welcome to the National Society of Leadership and Success's Motivational Monday, starting you off each week with ideas and action steps for continued success.
Welcome back, Society members. This is Tracy, and I hope you're excited for today's Motivational Monday. I'm thrilled to introduce Brian Germain as our presenter today. Brian's life work is the study of fear and its effects with the most useful methods for shifting out of this destructive mindset and into the realm of optimal performance. Today's topic is transforming fear into skill. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very pleased to be here. The process of dealing with fear and converting it into its many opposites can be broken down in a pretty simple way. If you just simplify it and you break it down to this individual process that is a packet that applies to everything in life, you'll see 4 steps. And the way I remember those 4 steps is that when we deal with a fear, we're getting a prize at the end of it. We're expanding. And so to me, the ultimate little reinforcement would be an M&M. And so here's how you remember is I see M&Ms. I see M&M. And the first is isolate. The second is clarify. The third is mitigate. And the fourth is motivate. Isolate, clarify, mitigate, and motivate. And what the heck do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, first, you isolate. What the heck is my fear? What am I afraid of? What are the negative consequences? But specifically, what in this context is making me avoid? The second is clarifying what are the real risks? What is the likelihood that this worst case is going to play out? And separating the possible from the probable. We get a little lost in this. We tend to slip into believing that what is possible is probable. And of course, when we fixate on the negative possibilities, we increase the likelihood of those possibilities, and we also reduce the likelihood of the best case scenario playing out. And here's how I look at it. When we're clarifying risks, like you approach a big kitchen sink full of stuff, right? It's got all kinds of dirty dishes in it. In those dishes, you've got glasses that might break and get sharp and touchy. You have knives. Sharp knives could be in there, right? And so one way to deal with it is don't do the dishes. And with a lot of things in life, people do. They avoid the risk so much that they're not dealing with the necessary components of their life, paying bills, dealing with relationship issues, all kinds of things fall by the wayside because we're avoiding. So knives in the sink, if you think of it, if you have a few knives, but mostly objects in that sink that are perfectly safe, not a big deal. You just have to think in terms of where are those knives? What are the specifics, the risks? So that's clarify. Then the third is mitigate. How do I control it? How do I deal with this? What can I do to reduce the risk of the worst case scenario playing out? What do I do to increase the likelihood of the best case scenario playing out? Well, the number one, the thing that I want people to come home with more than anything else from this, in addition to the general acronym that'll remind you of how to do this stuff, ICM&Ms, move slower, breathe slower. We create risk when we move too fast. We become sort of incompetent. We bump into things and we bump into people and we create problems. The second, beyond moving slower, is learning more about the situation. The more you understand, the more you can manipulate it. But if you reduce the speed, that knowledge is power. We're capable of adjusting our heading if we move a little slower through danger. The third is look where you want to go. When you visualize what you don't want, when you fixate on that, you increase the likelihood of it. So look in the direction of the best case scenario that you want to see play out. The fourth is meaning, what I call it motivate. Motivate yourself with the reason why you're putting yourself in this hot kitchen, in this dangerous situation that you could just avoid it, but what is the consequence? So the question I want you to ask yourself to create motivated meaning is, what freedom does this expansion through bravery purchase me? So what am I going to get out of this? Why am I taking this risk? It might be a physical risk. It might be an emotional risk. But either way, there is some sort of reinforcement. Think of that M&M. What is going to motivate you to move forward? How am I going to expand as a result of taking on my fear? One fear at a time, little by little, baby steps. Don't get hurt. Don't cause crash and burns just to expand your fears. There is such a thing as too fast. But if you keep on a seek and destroy mission in your life to push back fear, you will become the real version of you that you were meant to be.
Thank you, Brian. Members, for further information about Brian, please visit his website at transcendingfear.com. That's www.transcendingfear.com. Members have a positive week.
To access more Motivational Monday content, visit the members area of societyleadership.org.